Albert Einstein, the name that today symbolizes genius and brilliance, was once written off as slow, strange, and hopeless. As a child, he hardly spoke a word until the age of 4, leading his parents and teachers to fear that something was wrong with him. In fact, one teacher even told his parents, "He'll never amount to much." Yet the boy who was slow to speak would one day speak to the world in the language of the universe itself. Einstein didn't have an easy start. He wasn't the perfect student. He found school restrictive, dull, and uninspiring. He questioned authority, resisted rote memorization, and often found himself lost in his thoughts. Where others saw rebellion, Einstein simply saw curiosity. From an early age, he wanted to understand how things worked, not just on the surface but at their core. His love for math and physics bloomed in solitude. While other students memorized formulas, Einstein questioned why those formulas worked. He wasn't interested in being average. He was determined to uncover deeper truths. But society doesn't always reward deep thinkers immediately. After graduating, Einstein couldn't find a teaching job. No university wanted him. No laboratory would accept him. Despite graduating from a prestigious polytechnic school in Switzerland, he found himself unemployed and unwanted. He finally secured a job at the Swiss Patent Office, not because it was prestigious, but because it paid the bills. But even there, Einstein didn't stop dreaming. While reviewing other people's inventions, he was busy crafting the theories that would revolutionize science. It was during those quiet hours at the patent office that he formulated ideas that would later shake the very foundations of physics. In 1905, what's now known as Einstein's miracle year, he published 4 groundbreaking papers, including the theory of special relativity. At the time, he was still an unknown patent clerk. But that year, the world could no longer ignore him. He introduced the idea that time and space were not fixed, that energy and mass were deeply connected, and that light didn't always behave the way we thought it did. One of those papers included the now famous equation E equals mc superscript 2. An idea so simple yet so revolutionary that it changed the way we look at energy forever. But even with these revolutionary contributions, Einstein wasn't instantly accepted. Many scientists doubted his work. His theories defied centuries of accepted thought. He faced criticism, skepticism, and academic resistance. But Einstein was no stranger to doubt. He had faced it all his life. Instead of arguing, he kept proving. With calm persistence, he let his work speak louder than the voices trying to shut him out. Over time, the world began to understand just how significant his insights were. In 1921, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics, not for his famous theory of relativity, which was still too controversial at the time, but for his work on the photoelectric effect, which later became a pillar of quantum theory. That win wasn't just a personal triumph. It was a victory for every misfit, every outsider, every dreamer who had ever been told they weren't good enough. It was proof that brilliance doesn't always wear a suit, doesn't always follow rules, and doesn't always get recognized right away. Sometimes, greatness takes time and courage. But Einstein's journey wasn't just about scientific success. It was about human values, resilience, and moral courage. As a Jewish scientist in Europe during the rise of Hitler, he faced growing anti-Semitism. He fled Nazi Germany and moved to the United States, not just to save himself, but to continue his work in a place where ideas could be free. He used his voice and influence not just for physics, but for peace. He spoke out against racism, war, and nuclear weapons, even though his own equation E equals mc squared had indirectly helped create them. He once said, "I made one great mistake in my life, when I signed the letter to President Roosevelt recommending that atom bombs be made." Einstein never saw success as a one-dimensional achievement. To him, intelligence had no value without ethics. Knowledge meant nothing if it didn't serve humanity. Even as the most famous scientist in the world, he lived modestly, played the violin, wore the same clothes daily, and valued simplicity over status. His wild hair and absent-minded look became icons, but his true legacy was in how he thought and how he cared. Einstein's life was never about being the smartest person in the room. It was about being the most curious. He once said, "I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious." That humility wasn't fake. It was real. Despite his unmatched intellect, he never lost touch with wonder. He believed imagination was more important than knowledge because imagination opened doors knowledge hadn't yet found. And that's why he succeeded. Not because he was born a genius, but because he never stopped asking questions. He failed, he stumbled, he was rejected, misunderstood, and criticized, but he kept thinking. He kept dreaming. He kept wondering, what if? His story teaches us something deeply powerful. Your obstacles don't define you, your persistence does. It doesn't matter if the world doubts you. What matters is whether you doubt yourself. Einstein faced more rejection than most of us ever will. He was told he was slow, that he wouldn't succeed, that his ideas were wrong. But he didn't listen. He listened to his own voice, the quiet voice of belief, curiosity, and conviction. And that voice led him to redefine our understanding of time, space, and energy. Einstein didn't wait for permission to be brilliant. He didn't ask the world to validate his ideas before pursuing them. He pursued them because he believed in them, and eventually the world followed. If you ever feel like giving up because people don't understand you, or because success seems too far away, think of Albert Einstein. Think of the boy who didn't speak, the student who hated school, the graduate who couldn't find a job, the clerk who changed the universe. Think of the Nobel Prize winner who said, "Try not to become a man of success, but rather a man of value." He taught us that true success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you become. So keep going. Stay curious. Ask questions. Think differently. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to believe that your ideas matter, even when no one else does.